Anna.
Hi,
Hey, how you doing today?
great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining me on Iryna's Avenue today.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes, and so we're doing something different today. We want to touch on the topic of connecting with yourself and what does that mean and look like. And we also want to touch on what self-trust looks like. So, Anna, I'm gonna let you run with this topic.
Thank you. Just a
Oh,
small
and
introduction.
yes, just introduce yourself, please. I forgot.
Yeah, for sure. Just a small introduction. I'm Anna Bohuslavska. I'm a transformational coach. I have over 600 degree hours on developmental psychology. I have certification in art therapy, aromatherapy, in coaching, and a lot of years of expertise and own experience as well. And I've been in different places through my life and different stories. And I've been in the places where I totally disconnected from myself and I know how it feels like, how it looks like. And I really hope that the topics that we are going run today will help you, help the all women to heal and to step into their best version of themselves, their new life.
Yes, if you think about it, relationship with yourself is the longest relationship. It's forever. It's
Yeah.
literally till death takes its course. So that's a very important relationship as far as I'm concerned. And it's important for me to have that for myself. So tell us a little about what connecting with yourself really means.
Well, it's hard to say in few words, but basically being in connection with yourself, it's like this whole picture of feeling your body, feeling your soul, knowing what you want to do, knowing what your values, what your goals, what your dreams, what things you accept in your life, what you reject and don't want to be in your life. And really like about this full picture. And even the researches that going on around neuroscience, the more research is going on, the less they can distinguish between body and mind because it's so interconnected. And so it's important to stay in connection with ourselves. So like we are full, we are whole, and yeah, we need to like come to this from different approaches.
Yeah, for me, I'm actually fascinated with the neuroscience end of it all. When I started learning about how the brain works and what it really is and how to control it, because sometimes our thoughts and our mind controls us and what we do. So for me, that's a really great topic, the neuroscience of it.
Yeah, and actually it's not only like our thoughts control our mind, but it's like interconnection because our physical presence influence our mind, our thoughts, our emotions, as well as vice versa. And you cannot like put apart it.
So what would some of that process look like in terms of connecting with yourself?
It can take like in different levels because you need to be connected with your body, and basically it's like about doing the practices that will get you feeling like breath work, like meditations, yoga. It's a great tool to reconnect with your body, and just even like walking down the street and feeling how you step. It's also about connection with your body. And you can do it like a small practice to incorporate in your daily routine, like literally just spend a few minutes to feel your body, feel how it touches the ground, how the clothes touches it, feel how the blood flows, and you will be amazed. You can feel it. You can feel literally how blood flows through, and it's have a great benefits. Like when you're connected to your body, you eliminate different problems like stay hydrated because you feel when you're thirsty. Do not overeat because you feel when you're hungry, when you're full, and it's beneficial. And this is the one level, it's like on the body level. But also there's connection on the mind level when we need to be in connection with our emotions. Like literally, when something happens, we need to not just like, oh, okay, I'm frustrated, but understanding what's standing behind the frustration, because oftentimes it's much deeper levels. And so you need to be connected with your emotions and build the relationship with your emotions, because when you're like frustrated, it's not mean that you should like shout or something like that. Emotion itself, but your action is another story.
Yeah, and I heard it's really useful to name your emotions, right?
Yeah.
If it's anger, what does that mean? Whatever you're feeling inside, it's really important to think what that really is to you, because everybody's conception and perception and definitions of the same words are different. It's
Yeah.
all based on how we perceive things.
Yeah. And also it's like the 3-step process that I learned through the years for myself. It's being aware that you have this emotion, let yourself feel them, and then name them. It's 3 crucial steps in order to build the relationship with your emotions.
Do you have to accept those emotions, or how do you do that?
Yeah, you have to accept, because all emotions, there's no good or bad emotions. They're all there to protect yourself, to help you survive and navigate through our life. It's just like building a relationship between what you feel and how you react, because you can feel tons of things, and trauma or traumatic experience can mess it up, and you need to rebuild this relationship.
So in your story, what was the story behind losing a connection with yourself, or did you have that experience?
I would say several experiences, and one was like from really young age, when I expressed to my mother that I'm really interested in psychology and was thinking about going to this field. And she would say like, no, you're too emotional, you're too empathic, you cannot go that path. And for little child, it's a big important opinion. So
Yeah.
I literally disconnected from this thought. And at the time when I graduated from my school, I even do not thought about going to psychology field. And
Wow.
I ended up in software development. But as I separated from mom, start living by myself, start really gaining back connection to myself, I thought I really want to get the degree just for myself. At that point, it was like just for myself. And when I went to my first maternity leave, I had like this big aha moment when I really remember this as it was yesterday. I was standing in the hallway with my son and he was crying, and I couldn't calm him down. And I felt like this insert urge to stop it no matter what. And this so scared me. So I went to go deep and investigate why I react this way. And it's like helped me not only know myself better, but also reconnect with myself and understand that now I want to pursue my dream no matter what someone told me. And now 25 years later, after that thought that was seated in my mind that I cannot do it, I'm on my way to degree.
Well, congratulations. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but I'm excited about it.
So tell us what self-trust looks like.
Well, self-trust, it's also could be on different levels. It could be about trusting your gut, and it's actually backed up by neuroscience, why we like this gut feeling, why it's called that. It's basically because the memory that we store, especially pattern recognition and wisdom memory, I would say, they push down so deep and they start not in our brain as much of us thinks that just in the brain. It's pushed down to the spinal cord and to the neurons in the gut. So gut feeling is literally, it's real. So tapping into intuition, trusting your gut feeling, trusting your decisions. And here comes in play also understanding what your values. Do you have any limiting beliefs? Because sometimes you can think, well, I want this high-paying job, but why? Because someone told you should have, or because you enjoy doing it? Like, what your whys behind those actions? And here's come a lot like work in with limiting beliefs as well.
So asking yourself some questions is really important in doing inner work.
Yeah, having with yourself deep conversations. And it could be just in your mind. In journaling is like super cool tool in this way. So yeah, just start and know you, especially when you went in a long relationship. especially if they were abusive, you can lost a lot of yourself in there, and you need to rebuild it.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought up the connection between what's up here and how it moves through your body, because in my past relationship, my thoughts and the ways that I was feeling and how I was holding on to those feelings, it actually was creating body reactions that I wasn't aware of. For example, I thought there was something wrong with my heart for the longest time, and nobody could figure out what it was. All the doctors were telling me, your heart's fine, everything's good. And then a little after I was out of that relationship, my friend was talking to me, and she was telling me about her panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and how those are different. And it hit me. I realized that for the past X many years, may have been having anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and I just was not aware of that. But it came from all of the emotions being stored in the body, right?
Yeah, and also I think there's a crucial part that in our modern society we're so focused, like you need to work on your mind and forget about this connection, and we're not always like connecting the dots that this emotion leads to this reaction, because basically how our perception of the work works is that we come across some situation, it raises up, the signals goes to brain like, okay, we need to feel this emotion, sends back signals, and we have body reaction. And from this body reaction, we have the cognition of what's going on. So when we lose our connection with the self, we cannot connect the dots, like why?
Wow. That's very important to understand. Like I said, that's where my fascination with the neuroscience comes from, is because change the illness conditions. You can literally relieve yourself of some of these diseases because those essentially are created from emotions. Sometimes it's so overwhelming here, and like you said, it travels through our body and it creates some kind of illness or sickness.
Yeah, and I think that's why so popular became this sensory motor psychotherapy, where therapists really trying to figure out what's emotions stored in your body, and yogas became the more popular because it's one of the biggest practice that's around connecting your body and your mind. So yeah, it's overlooked, I would say, by many. Also, we need to understand that here comes in play how we treat our body, because for example, what we eat influences our chemical state, but chemical state of our body is literally the language of communication, our mind and our body. So when we eat some food, it can have an impact, like the coffee, an example. We all know that we got energized by coffee, but what stands behind it? Basically chemicals that translate into our body, and it reads and goes its reaction. So any food influence us.
So I guess we are what we eat is a really true statement then.
Yeah, we are what we eat, we are where we are. For example, trees, they release some chemicals that uplift our immune system. So spending the time in the nature, healing by itself, and grounding exercises like just standing a few minutes barefoot or touching the tree, it can be beneficial. And also, we need to understand that the space we are in, because emotions are contagious. For example, I think you experienced it before when you come to the room with some people and then you feel like my energy are down, I'm like stressed out. Basically because we release the hormones through our skin as well, and we read them as well. And the emotions are contagious, yeah. So we need to be aware of what we eat, where we are, what we do, a lot of things.
And touching on that, as far as the room, right? I heard in the neuroscientific world also that we each come with our own energy field, and it can be like a 3-meter wide diameter. So literally what we're feeling is vibrating out here. So if you have a room full of people, like you said, completely negative, fighting, then it's contagious because of that energy field that's around.
Yeah. And when you're going through the process, when you're trying to rebuild yourself, I would say. You really need to be thinking not only about your mindset, but with whom you spend time and with whom you share your thoughts, and literally about this holistic approach to you.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought up the nature end of it. For me, that's really healing, to be in nature, to hear the birds, to smell the flowers. And I know some women don't get a chance to do that, and or if they have some spare time, they're not focused on that, especially if they're like in a toxic relationship or something like that. So for me, it was really important to get out in nature, and that's what helped me reconnect with myself, because being out in nature, I could meditate, whether it's putting something on YouTube as a guided meditation or just some background noise. And sometimes it's nothing, just letting the nature be in you and with you. It's very healing.
Yeah, and I think that's why all those retreats, they try to be in like nature surrounding as well, because it's the component of healing. And I know like women who went all the way in, and she like literally sold her house, bought a van, and went for a few months of just traveling, be by herself, hiking and reconnecting with herself. But for some, it's about being conscious and make it like your goal. One of my clients implemented the technique, like just literally going outside every single day for 15 minutes, just 15 minutes of her time spending outside. And she felt tremendous effect from it.
Wow.
It's literally changed a lot. It brought self-awareness. It brought a lot of different perspective on the world itself, on her problems. Like this 15 minutes. But even if, for example, you do not have those 15 minutes, you can put plants in your house.
That's a good idea.
You can, while you're cooking, for example, the kitchen, pause for a minute with a cup of tea and look at the trees from your window. These little tiny moments of connection.
So it all comes from awareness, I think, right?
Yeah, we need to really choose what I want to do and do it. And for some, it could be really hard to implement new habits, and there comes notifications, alarms, and so on and so forth, notes over the place before it becomes the habit. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little about losing self-trust.
It starts, I would say, slowly and creeping in for most of people. Like there's extreme situation when something traumatic happens and it's just psychological shutdown, and it's whole another story. But oftentimes it's like crippling. Someone told that it's not good, you're not good. Someone told that you're wrong, and like as we have in Ukraine saying, if 100 time you would say for yourself that you are stupid, on 101 time you believe it. So it's basically like little tiny things here and there. Someone said one, someone said another, or you compared yourself. And in the era of social media, it's so easy to go down this rabbit hole, starting comparing yourself with others. But social media picture is not a true life, and you don't know what happens behind the screen, but you compare yourself with this vision, with this picture, and it's also can lead to this doubting, am I doing this right, am I wrong? And nowadays a lot of social media like, you need to do it this way, I will show you how, and a lot of tools that can feel daunting. For example, like this book, I don't know if you heard, probably heard, The Miracle Morning. I literally hate that book.
I haven't read it.
It's about get up one hour earlier and do meditation, journaling, spending all these practices for yourself. But for example, for me, when I read it, I was a mom of a almost newborn kid, and if I get up earlier, the kid will get up earlier, and I will just start my day 1 hour earlier. What about people who start their work at 5 a.m.? They need to wake up at 3 a.m. It's really not applicable for a lot of people. And you can read this kind of books and think, well, probably something wrong with me because I cannot do it.
Wow. So I know that for some people, visualization is big on connecting with what you are, what you want. Can you touch on that?
Sure, it's also backed up by neuroscience, I would say, because our mind and brain, it's meant to do the work that we are focusing on. For example, if we're noticing around us only bad things, we will see more bad things. If we consciously focusing on good things, we will start seeing good things. And putting up the vision boards, basically, it's not just about putting them, it's about putting them in the place where you will constantly see them. And when you see those pictures, it fires those connection in your mind. Yeah, I want this, I then want that. And your mind starts figuring out, okay, this is our focus, how we can get there, what we need to do. And important, not only put the vision board, but start doing some actions toward it, because just about looking, you will be waiting for a long time. But yeah, it's a great tool to use.
Yeah, it gives our brains a map, I think, right? As far as getting there.
And I remember one story of my client way back. We worked with her and she put a vision board for herself. And then when we ended our work together, she came back to me about a year after that. And she came back, I yesterday found this vision board that we made and everything there came to life. And I was like, yay, our work is done. Time to put a new one.
Wow, sometimes it works just that fast, huh?
Yeah, well, it depends on how big dreams you put on.
Okay. What was on your vision board? Did you have one, I guess, when you left your mom's environment? Did you have any kind of vision board for yourself?
I put it one back 4 years ago, I would say. And I need to look it up, but I think most of the stuff from there accomplished, but I literally have over here one. And the one that I have now, it's not much about the things that I want or places what I want, but more about how I want to be, how I want to feel myself. So
Right.
yeah, I using this tool.
So what is self-worth?
It's, I would say, interconnected with self-trust, because part of self-worthiness is really trusting that you are enough. You are enough as you is. And for me, it's, I would say, hard topic because I was raised in emotionally absent mother and I didn't had father. They were divorced when I was 2 and I never seen him after that. And it script a lot of I'm not worth him to connect with myself. I'm not worth my mom to pay attention for my emotions. And it can start pretty early, but it also can start at any time of your life. And I would say it's hard work to heal from it. And it takes a lot of conscious effort, like literally catching you on the thoughts that you're putting yourself down just because of the feeling. But the major part is really just be aware that there's is this problem, because a lot of time people even do not aware that it's something that they need to look on.
Definitely. And can you tell us a little about what would inner power look like?
Yeah, I'm a strong believer that every single one of us have potential that can be thriving, and like you can do anything. And I like that saying that I heard literally a few days ago, like the only one person that could say no to you is yourself. So
Definitely.
basically you really need to do what you believe, do what feels right for you. And it's a lot of believing in yourself, believing that you have all this in. Even in coaching, when we work with clients, we literally do not give answers. We guide them to help person find answers within, because we all got it.
Right.
And a lot of times you can hear from clients like, Yeah, it was in the back of my mind probably, but I wasn't aware of this because we got all answers in us. And when you connected, you can easily get access to those. But
Right.
if you disconnect it, it's a tricky one.
So if we acquire beliefs from childhood, like you touched on, from your mom saying something or somebody else, and you adopt those beliefs, right? How do you even notice that in your life later? How did that happen for you?
For me, it happened in, I would say, different levels. And it was not like this aha moment that oh yeah, I had this. Because sometimes they're so deep enough bird, and here comes in place coaching or therapy. It's really about deep work, and oftentimes we can come across those limiting beliefs when we start and assess what our life looks like and why it looks like. For example, if person starts thinking, I cannot do it right, this task I failed, and you just need to, okay, let's see, why is that? And we dig and dig and we see, yeah, because I'm always failing. So those also like triggering words like always, never, like, is this true? If you caught up yourself saying something about yourself that you always or you never, you need to pause for a moment. Is this true?
Definitely. I totally agree with that. It's in my story, is watching what's coming out of my mouth, what was going through my head, what emotions were running through my body, is just giving that awareness and just being with that. And like you said, starting to question, where did this come from? Why did it get there? Why do I think or say the things that I do? And a lot of people don't get that pleasure of questioning yourself. And like you said, they end up saying, I always was like this, or I'm never gonna, because. So it's very important to notice what comes out of your mouth and what runs through your head and your body.
Yeah. And as one of my clients was saying, like, as we worked together, she was like, yeah, this is, I see the pattern in my life. So yeah, we need to deeper and see why this is pattern happen, because probably the chances that are sitting limiting beliefs are pretty high in those situations.
Right,
And I
yeah.
also want to touch that in our busy schedule life, we often forget even pause and think why it's happening, why we say that. And it's really like taking a time for yourself, even if it would be 5 minutes a day or 5 minutes a week, it would be better than nothing.
Right, definitely so. Well, we are coming to an end of our interview here. And did you have anything else you want to discuss before we jump off?
Well, I want to emphasize a few things that we need to literally come to ourselves in a holistic approach and see and learn ourselves from different perspectives. And when we are healing, we need to approach it from different perspective. I actually want to share one story. Like this year, our Christmas tree was like this pre-lit Christmas tree where like lights already put it on the tree, and it started shut down like layer by layer this year, and probably when it something is ending. And it took me a few hours to take in those lights off and scratching my hands to take them off. So the next year we can like put a new light string and it would be beautiful again. And why I'll tell this story, because sometimes rebuilding yourself is a similar process. It takes time to take off that's not longer you, that's stopping you. And it could be messy, it could be painful sometimes, but the result would be super beneficial. It would be new you. And so sometimes it can be scary, overwhelming, and here comes in place finding the support, finding someone who will guide you.
What would you say your support system was like for you?
It was my spouse, it was my therapist, and a lot of self-support through self-development, self-healing practices. Yeah, it's it takes a team, I would say, to do it more easily and fast than by yourself.
A
And
team.
it even could be just like a good friend that you can talk to.
Yes, that's good. So, do you have a message you want to leave our audience with?
I would say that we need to learn from our experiences and understand that they happened in our life to give us lessons and help us to step on the next level. And we just need to learn how to assess them, use them, and do not be afraid to go deep. Do not be afraid of your thoughts. Do not be afraid of your feelings. They're all there to help you, and reach out for support if needed.
And can you give our audience some questions that they could start asking themselves to start changing in that direction?
Yeah, for sure. I would say the first question is start just thinking, who am I? What roles I'm playing? What I want from my life, how it should looks like. And the questions that you would ask a person if you would like to know it. Just literally imagine like you're on a date and you really want to get to know this person, and you want to get to know this person on a deep level. What questions would you ask this person?
Wow, that's beautiful, Anna. That's really amazing to think about it that way.
Yeah, and that's why I made this free gift for our audience, this workbook that will be a date with yourself. And it's a spicy experience, immersive one. And just take your time, take this gift and go on a date with the best person on this life. You.
That sounds like a great gift for Valentine's Day. I really thank you so much for giving that.
For sure. I
All
just
right.
want all women would be healed, and we're stepping in the era where the collective woman would bring the peace to our work.
Yes, definitely. We are the nurturers.
Yeah.
All right, so we've come to the end of this topic here, and I just want to tell everybody to reconnect with themselves and keep watching the series for more tips and more tools. I'll see you later.
See you.
Bye.